Right now, and normally at this time on Thursday, Sheree Clark from Fork in the Road comes in and she lays out some things she wants us to try, some concoctions you created in the kitchen. But just looking at some of this stuff here, Sheree, and smelling some of this stuff here, it doesn't smell like your normal fare. So I'm guessing we're doing something involving being healthy in a healthy way.
Yes, if you want to eat this morning, we're going to have to go out to eat breakfast after the show.
Okay.
So what we're talking about today is alternatives to things that we normally use, okay? So most of us have something happen every now and then. You get an ailment, you overexert yourself, you've got an ache or a pain or a headache or a sliver or whatever. Something will happen. And so the traditional thing is for us to go to the medicine cabinet and get something out as a remedy. What I want to ask people to do is to think about what it is that we're using. Because just like we ingest food, anything you put on your skin, which is the largest organ of the body, or anything that you consume becomes a part of you. It's something that is a part of your health. So let's take a look at what we're doing. And I'm not demonizing anything here. I'm not saying that there's anything that's bad or horrible. I'm saying that very oftentimes we can trade up. So what I did was I went to Campbell's Nutrition Center over on 42nd and I said, I've got some standard things that I use that I use that I know. What would a normal person be using in the medicine
So the
cabinet?
retail equivalent.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So I wanted to bring a few of those today and so we could have some options. And here's why. So you might say to yourself, well, what's wrong with the stuff I'm using now? Sometimes the trade-up is there are more natural ingredients that you could buy. Sometimes the trade-up is there's something in one of the products that is available mainstream that you want to avoid. Let's say it's food coloring or dye. There's one of these here that obviously it's pretty bright pink. That is not a color found in nature. So if you're allergic to food dyes, for example, well, what can you do if you've got some kind of an ailment? So let's talk a little bit about what some of those things might be.
All right, so heading into a new season, I've been having terrible allergies, headaches, even a little bit of a cold, so not feeling the greatest, and I would naturally go towards an aspirin or something like that.
Right, exactly. So in the foreground, you've got a typical aspirin. That would be a generic, like the Walgreens brand of an aspirin. Now, aspirin was invented quite a long time ago. I don't remember, 100 years or something ago. It came from a plant, and the plant was a white willow bark. That's what's in front of you, the taller bottle. Why not go right to the source? Get a few less ingredients, less preservatives. It's a natural product and it works. That's exactly what I use.
So that has the same compound in it that aspirin has in it that is effective on your headaches or your aches and pains.
It's extremely effective. I have really enjoyed using that product. I think it's great. And so if I get a tension headache sitting in front of the monitor too long or whatever, friends of mine overindulge in wine. I tell them take a tablespoon of honey before you go to bed and white willow bark and you'll feel better in the morning.
Willow, I never heard of that. Okay.
But you're saying that's basically where aspirin got its start.
I didn't know that.
So it's not like you're taking a big side road here. You're following along with where that was originally coming from. Okay, so let's move on to another ailment we might have.
Okay, so we were talking about the Pepto Bismal kind of a product. So
which I don't understand because it turns black.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
Which we discovered when I did the chewing tablets. I woke up with a black tongue. So they say it shows pink, but it's not pink when it's inside your body.
No, it's definitely not. And so the Pepto Bismal is definitely one of those kind of things that it gives some side effects. If the second ingredient is the food dye. So if you look on the label, there's an active ingredient, and then the food coloring is the second thing.
Yeah.
And it's also something that people can get addicted to. You become dependent on it, or people will start taking that all the time. Tums are the same way, where you're constantly taking it. I personally like that. The natural product there is based out of papaya, and papaya has a really high enzyme fruit. And that is very, very effective if you've got occasional upset stomach or indigestion or things aren't going so well. Take that as you go, and there's less side effects and no black.
Is it one of those, if you know you're going to be eating something that gives you indigestion, that you want to do it beforehand, or is it after you eat type
You
situation?
could do it either way. My suggestion with all of these is to experiment and to see how it goes. Don't overtake it. To me, I don't take a lot of things prophylactically. I don't take things in anticipation of doing bad things. I try not to do bad things. But if it's your birthday or you're going to do something, and so yeah, that would be an option.
Yeah, and a lot of people use the papaya yours truly included, as just a daily supplement to
Yes.
help with your digestion. It really does help.
It really absolutely does, definitely. Yep.
Okay, so what's another ailment?
So, well, as long as we're on the digestion train, we could talk a little bit about Tums,
Yep.
and that's one of those things you've seen people pop those like crazy.
Now, does that have the same thing as the Pepto Bismol?
No, there's
Okay.
slightly different ingredients and slightly different applications and so forth. An option for that would be this mineralized a DGL, which is a licorice extract, which is a really more of a natural way of doing things.
Really?
Yeah. It's fascinating. And that you'll have less problems with. Again, the addiction issue. And when I say addiction, I'm not talking about like mental dependency. I'm talking about the body not feeling like it's
Wow.
operating properly. So that's
pretty
a
neat.
great option.
And is that the same thing like a chew tablet, or is it a pill you would take?
It's a pill. You swallow it. Mhm.
Okay.
And there's
Wow.
chewable ones. There's all different kinds of options as well. And then let's talk about topical things like skin. So cortisone cream is one of those things that people use oftentimes for itching. I had some poison ivy last summer, and it was driving me crazy. I didn't know what to do. So the physician suggested that. I found an option here that is a lot more natural. That doesn't have any steroids in it. So that's the reason that I like this particular cream. It works effectively.
I was going to say, did it get rid of the itch?
Definitely got rid of the itch, absolutely.
And what's it called? Florazone?
Yeah, Florazone.
Florazone. Never heard of that either.
Loved it.
Well, yeah, it's like a bunch of things we haven't heard of before that you're opening our eyes to.
Do you
Thank
think it's something that, like, these are so commercialized, like they have so much money behind the companies that they're able to throw them in our face that we don't even realize there are other options out there?
I think it's that. I also think it becomes a force of habit. When you're growing up and you had the Pepto Bismol in your medicine cabinet and you have an upset tummy, you're just used to going to the store and getting it because that's what your parents had or whatever. So I think it's a little bit of a cycle that's hard to break. And I also think there's a little bit of a fear factor. Fear in people, not fear that it's going to hurt them, but fear that it's not going to work. It's like, I don't feel well. I don't want to mess around with this natural stuff. I need something that works.
Okay.
And the thing about it is that the natural stuff really does work. My suggestion is this: read the labels, do a little research. If you're prone to things like muscle exertion and that type of thing, do the research now. It's probably going to happen. The other thing is, when you go to the little health food stores, like I go to Campbell's, when I go in, even though I think I know quite a bit, I ask them, I'll ask for their advice, and I'll say, this is what I think, and they'll say to me, maybe, but let's go over this way, because they're a little bit more objective.
Yeah.
And it's really neat.
Okay, you have a couple more things you want to point out. Speaking of muscle exertion.
Absolutely, Bengay. That's one of those, my parents had that all the time. My dad would be out mowing the lawn and would rub that all over himself, and it stunk, and it was terrible, and then he'd always try to hug me and my sister because he knew it drove us crazy. This one, I like, Topricin is a lot nicer because, one, it doesn't smell, and two, it's not at all greasy. So when you put it on, it absorbs immediately into the skin, and it positively works. I promise you, this is my favorite thing for muscle exertion. So too much yoga, too much road warrior on the weekend, it's great. And then, Jackie, you're going to love this. You wonder why there's a pair of tweezers there.
Yes.
The tweezers is the old school way of getting out a sliver.
True.
Uh-oh, okay, this could be a trick.
That salve is fabulous. If you open it up, you can see it, and that's actually come out of my cabinet. It's you can see what it looks like inside. It's kind of a black pasty material. If you put it on anything that you need to extract or pull out of your skin, let's say you've got a sliver and you just can't get it out, instead of digging around in there, put that on there, it'll pull it right out.
Are you serious?
Completely. It's great for boils. And for teenagers, if you have a pimple and you're wanting it to come to a head so that you could extract it, put it on there before bed at night, and that will help.
So what is the
Really?
product called again?
It's called Prid.
Prid.
Right? And most of these are pretty inexpensive. That was a couple of dollars, and that'll last a really long time, unless you have a lot of pimples and slivers.
And then you get the jumbo jar. But okay, so we talked about aspirin to get things started here. You also have some ibuprofen over here, too.
Yeah, so the ibuprofen.
And there's some people that do not like to take ibuprofen. They stay away from it.
Yeah, well, for one thing, it's not real good for your liver.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep. So an option for that would be this Curica is a name brand. This is actually a blend of 3 different things. It has some of the white willow bark in it as part of the ingredients. It's also got some turmeric in it, and that's really good for, again, muscle exertion and those kinds of things, or things that you would normally take an ibuprofen for.
Okay.
Great substitute.
All right,
a lot of
some
great ideas.
options.
Yeah.
Whether you're maybe not feeling the best heading into a new season, or you have a little ailment or a sliver, there are options out there besides your usual that you're able to see on the shelf.
What great ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, now people want to follow along with what you're doing, or maybe they have some questions about anything that they may have just seen on the program just now. They can get a hold of you, right?
Absolutely. Well, definitely go to the experts like at Campbell's or the local health food stores, but you can reach me at fork-road.com or send me an email at info@fork-road.com.
Yeah, great stuff. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sheree. We will be